been 6 months since I've been using both the Xbox Series X and the PS5. I got them both day one. I already did a video comparing the two of them, but today I wanted to talk to you about my experience after 6 months. And originally I'd kind of given it to the PS5 if you had to buy one, but I think my opinion might have changed over time, so let's get into it. Now quickly, let's look at the hardware. The PS5 is really big and definitely looks more futuristic, but in terms of build quality, it's not as solid, you know, like these plastic things like move around. It's, you know, taking the stand on and off is a pain. The Xbox has much better build quality overall. Everything feels solid. Even design wise, you know, I like the rectangular look. It definitely looks modern and cool. And I think just in terms of hardware console design, I prefer the Xbox. It kind of like blends into the background better on my desk. Now in terms of controllers, the DualSense 5 is definitely the more feature-packed controller. It's got a ton of features over the Xbox controller. It's got 6-axis control, adaptive triggers. It's got a touchpad over here, 3D sense, vibration as well. So there's a lot to love about this controller. It definitely is pretty amazing. But in terms of pure comfort, I would give it to the Xbox controller. If I had to play 4-5 hours at a stretch, I'd prefer using the Xbox Series X controller over the PS5. It's just not as ergonomic for longer playing sessions compared to the Xbox controller. And another thing about this one is the battery life. It does about 6 to 7 hours of play. This one gets you about 20 in real life use. And even when it does die, you can just swap out the batteries on the Xbox one. Over here, you have to plug it into a USB-C. So you kind of have to be close to the console and have it plugged in. Now, quickly touching on the UI of each console. I definitely like the way that the PS5 menus look. They look better in almost every way. First of all, the whole menu system is in 4K HDR. The Xbox's is in 1080p. So until you get into a game, you don't actually see it in 4K. So everything looks a lot more crisp and clean on the PS5's menu system. But in terms of usability, I actually prefer the Xbox One. And this was not the case for the previous generation PS4, which I think was a lot better laid out than this. Had a lot better access to quick functionality over the PS5's menu system. But Xbox has done a lot to improve their UI in the last couple of years, and I actually prefer using the Xbox user interface. And apart from that, in terms of OS capabilities, I think the Xbox is actually superior. On the Xbox, you have Quick Resume, which is a killer feature. You can actually pause any game that you want, switch to another game with that game in its save state, and then, you know, swap back and forth as you wish. That even works when the console's actually shut down. So it is a killer feature if you like playing multiple games. And we'll get to the games part in a bit, but the PlayStation will only kind of pause one game in rest mode, and if you want to swap between games, you have to shut down one game and open the other game. And sometimes the PlayStation won't even tell you that it's shutting down the first game, so you kind of have to be careful if you're playing something like Returnal, where you might lose like 2 hours of progress just because you didn't save the game properly. So now let's talk about the main reason why you'd want to buy one of these consoles. It's for the games, it's for the software and the services. So let's get into the games first. So there have been a few exclusives for the PlayStation 5, most notably Spider-Man, Demon's Souls, and now Returnal. And the Xbox hasn't really had any like pure exclusives except for one game that came out on Game Pass, and I forgot the name of it. So definitely PlayStation has the advantage over them when it comes to exclusives. We're getting a few more games coming out like Ratchet and Clank in the next few weeks, and then we've got Horizon and God of War coming out hopefully this year. So yes, the PlayStation does have some really good exclusives, and you can play almost every single PS4 game, and the PlayStation 4 had an amazing collection of games. In that sense, the PlayStation 5 is pretty good, especially if you never had a PS4 and you just got a PS5. You have like a huge selection of games to play from the PS4 era. But when it comes to services, Xbox is way ahead. So PlayStation has a PS Plus service, which gives you one free game for the PlayStation 5 every month. And their selection so far has been pretty good. This month they had Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I've been playing on the PlayStation 5, and it's a great game. And last month they gave Days Gone, which I really enjoyed as well. So there's been a couple of great games coming out each month for the PlayStation 5. On the Xbox side of things, you have Xbox Game Pass, and I cannot explain to you how good a value it is. If you don't care about like the exclusive games and all that, the Xbox has an amazing selection of games on Game Pass. Game Pass is a subscription service like Netflix. So you pay a fixed amount per month, about $10 a month, and $15 if you want Game Pass Ultimate, and you get every single game in their collection. You can download it whenever you want, play for as long as you want. So it is an amazing service, and they have some killer games. Every single Xbox exclusive is available day one on Game Pass, and most of the EA games library is there as well. And Microsoft recently acquired Bethesda, which has some of the best RPGs of all time like Skyrim and Fallout. And they're probably going to be making games exclusively for Game Pass in the coming months and years. Microsoft is betting big on the Xbox Game Pass service, and they definitely want you to buy it. They're giving you such an incredible value proposition over there. And they're spending billions of dollars on it. They just bought Bethesda for $7 billion. And Xbox is also heavily investing in acquiring new studios so that the number of exclusives that you get on the Xbox increase in the future. And the potential for future exclusives on the Xbox Series X has me super excited. Now, the cost of Game Pass is about the cost of 3 games per year, and the selection on Game Pass is absolutely amazing. I've experienced maybe 20 or 30 games which I wouldn't have bought, but since they were on Game Pass, I tried them out and I love them. So that's a big advantage for Game Pass, the discoverability of new games, because games are expensive, man. $60 to $70 now for a PS5 game or an Xbox Series X game. So having that Game Pass service is just amazing. On top of all that, the Xbox has insane backward compatibility. You can play every single Xbox game, Xbox 360 game, Xbox One game, as well as Series X games, obviously. So this has a much larger game selection than this. A lot of older games are getting boosts on the Xbox Series X. So they have some inbuilt technology that allows older games to now show HDR content using AI. And also they have the ability to boost older games which were running at 30 frames a second. But the Xbox is now able to artificially boost that to 60 frames a second. Both are amazing consoles right now, no doubt. The PlayStation has some advantages when it comes to exclusives. The Xbox has advantages when it comes to Game Pass and overall user experience. If you're a casual gamer today, I would definitely recommend picking up the Xbox Series X. Or if you're a bit more budget conscious, you can go for the Series S for $300 and get into Game Pass for 3 months free and continue paying for that. And you will have an amazing selection of games. You won't run out of games that you might be interested in, and you'll overall have a great experience. If you really want those PlayStation exclusives, which I really want those PlayStation exclusives, then the PS5 is a no-brainer. But yeah, like after experiencing both consoles for a while, I end up playing the Xbox Series X more just because of Game Pass. In the last 6 months, I think this has had 2/3 of my game time, and this has had like a third. So anyway, I just thought I'd update you guys about both these consoles. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 now that they've been out for a while. And if you like this video, hit that like button, leave me a comment, subscribe to watch more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. That's too far to reach.